Look, I made no secret all year that it was a possibility, and probably a strong possibility, but in a funny sort of way, I didn't want to close the door completely. If I come out and said, yep, well, I'm definitely retiring, then what happens if I changed my mind, or what happens if I'd started acting differently or playing, all those little things that it was probably more just to keep myself, sorted. But like when that final game came around and the final whistle went, I knew that was going to be it.
Was that the moment where you thought, I'm done? I mean, you said earlier you pulled the jersey off and that was the last time.
Yeah, well, look, I didn't allow myself to think past that final whistle. I just was, any time my thoughts went past, I was like, nah, it's not going to help me. And the final whistle went, and before the trophy was handed out, I was like, oh, wow, this is probably it. But then I was like, no, I'm going to enjoy this. And there was that little moment when I took the jersey off. I sat there and thought, geez, this is the last time I'm going to be wearing an All Black jersey and playing in it and playing in it. And then I was like, well, what better way to finish? And then I want to enjoy the next week and do that, and then make sure when I get home that it was the right thing. And I've had no sort of like sitting here now, there's no sort of underlying thing. Oh, maybe have I got this right? I know I've got it right.
How much was it that you wake up some mornings and think, oh, I'm just too tired, I'm getting too old for this, I can't do this anymore, I'm past it?
I actually felt like physically it was in pretty good shape. Like I was close to my best in terms of some of the physical stuff we get tested on, just right at the end. So it was more the mental side, and I think there's a couple of times, especially in the World Cup too, going to knockout rugby, the pressure's on to get it dead right, and that's hard work. And that's the bit that I remember sort of just thought I'd bank that away, that memory that whenever I think I wish I was playing, you just remember back what it takes to do that. And that's the bit that I perhaps got a bit tired of. And then if you start to let that affect you, it's going to affect how you train and then obviously how you play. So that's when I knew that this is the right thing to do.
In terms of what's next, do you think you've chosen with the helicopters something that is still kind of going to give you that adrenaline fix?
Oh, there's no doubt that, when I say it hasn't just been like, look through the menu and that'll do. I've obviously been interested in aviation, and in 2012 when I started to fly helicopters, I realised that they're pretty cool, the job that those guys did, and I thought that'd be a pretty cool thing to do. So it hasn't just come around, but there's no doubt that going to work or I've been going out there fairly regularly when I've had time free. I've loved, first of all, hanging out with those guys because they're passionate about it, and secondly, the flying. Some of the things they do, I just think that's pretty cool. So to be able to get a piece of that, I'm pretty lucky.
Having been in a situation where New Zealand has seen and perhaps demanded greatness for so long, is there still a sense that even now there's going to be that expectation of more greatness to come?
Well, I don't know about that, but it's not as though it's a put-on thing as to how I live and what I do. Like, the way people see is just the way I am, I suppose. So it's not as though I'm going to go and all of a sudden do things that are completely different to the way I've been living now. Whatever people expect, I don't know. But the one thing you always say, and you see it, whether you're a current All Black or a former one, you're always classified as an All Black. And that's a great thing, but that's a responsibility you're always going to have.
What do you think you're going to miss most about going from being a current All Black to a former All Black?
Look, there's probably a couple of things. One is definitely that thrill of running out onto the stadium with 80-odd thousand. Like that really excites me, and I really love that. So you'll miss that. And I think the other side of it that I'll miss is sitting in the changing room after a game when you've gone through a battle with your mates that you have a lot of trust and respect in, you've all done your thing and you've succeeded or got through a tight spot or whatever, and you're sitting there, you don't have to say a lot, you just know, and that feeling, and I don't know, it's one of those real happy feelings that you have. That's what I'll miss, because that's the bit you crave.
Going into a pub, do you think you're ever going to need to buy a beer again?
Oh, I don't know, I hope not. I'm quite happy to buy a drink in the pub, but
have you bought one since you came back?
I haven't actually been to a pub since I've been back, to be honest, so I need to go and test that one out.